Hello and welcome to Women That Get Shit Done, a podcast series full of innovative thinking and laughs. My name's Michaela and I'm joined by Dr Sarah Hopp and Amanda from P3T Photography. Today we are talking about mindset and success. We're going to be reflecting on a recent stand-up paddleboarding series that's ended and also exploring what success really means. How are we doing, ladies?
Very, very good.
Good.
Excited for this.
Shall we begin?
Yeah. So, GB SUP series winner and Miss P3T Photography. How are we feeling about now that the race series is season's over?
I've got a headache from the last race, not going to lie. Something to do with a dodgy gazebo, ADHD and no spatial awareness, and it in my head 5 times and realising I've had a scab on my head for like 4 days because I must have cracked it open.
You joining the club then? Joining the club with the paddle injuries?
Women that get scars done, yeah.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the results from the race. Obviously, we had Sub the Creek as the last race, which I'm very pleased to have won the Starboard Airline Cup. So chuffed with that. How about you, Sarah? How are you feeling?
Well, I only raced in 2 races this year because of the car accident I had. But I think about every race and I think about where I nailed it, where I fell short, and how much I've grown really. And I think sometimes you feel like you're giving everything and it's still not enough. And sometimes that's a little bit hard to sit with. But if you turn your frustration of that into direction, then that can fuel you forward. But yeah. Okay, pretty good. I did make the podium in the first race, so I was pleased with that.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think you've both had a very successful season. I think everyone's done a lot of personal achievement, personal self-reflection, and looking forward to what 2026 will look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting. That new programme that's just been published by GB SUP, that looks really good. Really exciting stuff.
Good. So, if you had to sum up your season in one word, Sarah, what would it be?
Evolving.
Nice. Michaela?
Strength.
All right, Hercules.
So not just physical strength. Paddling is hard physically, but we're looking at mindset today. So it is that emotional, mental strength. And there have been times this season where I have felt like I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be on this water, what am I doing? I'd say mostly around the ocean races, which is something I'm working on over the winter with some coaching. But yeah, it's been tough actually, and I'm really proud and pleased that I pushed through it and got where I did in the series, but it's taken a lot of strength. What about from a creative point though? What would your word be, Amanda?
Progression.
Why?
But that's reflecting on you guys as paddlers. I'm watching the guys out in Abu Dhabi at the moment. It's been amazing seeing them because obviously the winners of the race series aren't out there at the moment, but seeing all of those putting the effort in, taking that opportunity has been amazing. A privilege obviously to capture the moments on and off the water really. So yeah, for me that's been really successful, and looking forward to speaking with GB SUP and the powers that be of what 2026 may look like for me. More than one word, I do apologise.
I was just wondering then, so we've thought about how we've found the series, and now that it's over, what is that contrast like from sort of the race day energy that we get to now life off the water now that the summer season's over?
For me, what I do is that I go through a series of different, like a program for myself, like a holistic program for myself. And Annie Risdell Smith, who was my coach, said, it's cyclical. Training is cyclical, and it very much is so. So now I'm going into the winter cycle part. So the first thing that I do after the racing series is allow myself to decompress. So I've earned the rest physically and mentally. I don't rush to fill the gap immediately. I take a week or 2 of unstructured time, and it helps my body to recover and my mind to recharge. I might do land-based activities rather than paddling, although I can't wait to get on the water again tomorrow. And you've got to remember that rest isn't laziness, it's preparation for your next peak. And that's what the winter is taken through. So I'm looking really for the National Sprint Championships next year, next summer. And so that's going to be my peak. And so this is all the foundation for it. I also reflect, not ruminate, but reflect. So look back on the season with curiosity and not criticism. What worked, what didn't work, what do you learn about your strengths and your limits and your motivation? And I write that all down and reflect on it. And then I turn my disappointment into direction. So yeah, really, really revved up for winter.
So who said sup's just a summer sport?
No.
So how about you, Michaela?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. So I love the winter series racing. So summer's great. It's jam-packed full of lots of exciting events. But for me, I don't really stop. It's just the training shifts. So I focus on, a bit like Sarah was saying, she's focusing on the sprints next year. I'm looking to focus on technical, because that's always been a challenge for me. Distance, not a problem at all. I've done, very long distance paddling. Sprints I really enjoy, but it's just too super quick. So it's over in a minute and 16 seconds, I think my fastest time was at the champs this year. So yeah, technical is what I'm working on. So again, doing some coaching down on the sea and using the winter race series to practice those skills. Although it is more challenging because it is cold. So, got to wear the right clothes. Can't be out in the shorts and t-shirt anymore. And you don't really want to be falling in the water too much. But then that's where my cold water swimming comes in. So I started cold water immersion therapy and open water swimming 2 years ago now. It was October 2 years ago. And the reason I did that was to shift my mindset from the fear of falling in and not knowing what that cold water shock will do to me. So I wouldn't push myself on the start of a SUP race because I was scared of that sort of falling in and going into shock. And so by training my body to know what to do, to know how to deal with it through open water swimming, which I do most weeks, because other things that crop up like racing and stuff. Yeah, most weeks I get down to my local open water space at the shack and go for a lovely swim. And if you fall in, it doesn't matter then. You don't have that fear anymore. It's that total shift of your mindset. So I suppose there isn't really a quiet. It just changes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about that. So if you look at the season for me, it changes from water sports to winter sports, grassroots, and doing the different thing of enjoying watching the football as opposed to photographing the football. What have you learned from other paddlers, do you think, that would encourage them to get their shit done? Or encourages you or motivates you to get your shit done, ladies?
Well, what I tend to learn from watching paddlers during a race, whether that's me standing on the beach watching because I'm not in that race or because they're in front of me, is technique, looking how they move their bodies. I think that's the biggest thing I tend to learn from other paddlers is what they're doing on the water, but also understanding the technology. I think that's something that I've tried to understand a little bit more this year. So I've recently purchased my first fixed length paddle, an Oscar Propulsion Flow Force paddle, which I'm loving.
Duncan.
Yes, thank you very much, Duncan. I'm loving that, and it's and I had a really, really interesting conversation with him at the Big Dipper, understanding how the technology works and the thoughts behind it. It certainly made a difference to me in my paddling. But then I think from other paddlers, understanding what they're going through. So spending time talking to other paddlers and understanding what they're thinking, what their mindset is and what their techniques are and their training patterns are like. So it's you're always learning, I think, with sports. You're never, or in life, you're always just learning, aren't we?
Absolutely. And you get that sense of camaraderie, don't you? And solidarity as well with other paddlers. And I think for me, it's the same. You've got the technical insights, you've got the training approaches as well. But but you've also got, I think it's collaboration and team energy, and sort of like every paddler has their own rhythm, and the way that that's communicated matters, and you can really observe that on the water, like you were saying. And you learn to trust others, and it also teaches you humility and adaptability as well. You know, some of the other paddlers there have made me feel really humble as an athlete, and also looking at their training off the water as well, what other people do for training off the water, and perspective and motivation as well, seeing others chase their goals, coming back from injuries, some really inspirational people showing up with passion can reignite your own motivation. People have dedicated their life to SUP, and it's just amazing to see. And you realise as well that each person's fighting their own battles, and I think that sort of shared drive is really contagious, especially within the SUP community, and I think it's why it's such a supportive community as well. And also I think there's a bit of self-reflection through comparison, so with the healthy type of comparison. I'm not talking about criticism of others and measuring yourself against it, but also thinking, well, okay, what can I learn from this? So it shifts that comparison to growth. That's what it means for me.
So could you look at it that you take that comparison back to your day jobs, or is it your day jobs to the community?
I think it's both. It works both ways, because there are parallels in my day job and there are parallels within the SUP community as well. The jobs that Michaela and myself and yourself are in, they're people jobs, aren't they? So we're all into the holistic flourishing, the flourishing of the whole person, you know. And so there are so many things with SUP that help with that holistic flourishing, with well-being and stuff, you know. So I think, yeah, it's important. What do you think, Michaela?
No, I totally agree, and I'm also humbled often by my client work. So I deal with men and women who have gone through a lot of trauma or a lot of struggle in their life, and so sometimes when you're going through something tough, knowing that there are people out there that have gone through something so awful and they're still here and they're still pushing through, it gives you that sort of mindset shift of, this isn't that hard, you can push through, you can persevere. So yeah, so I certainly feel, doing the work I do, counselling clients, really humbled by a lot of the things that you hear. So yeah, I think and that's just not in you're in racing life, that's just in life in general. I can imagine there's, even with your creative work, Amanda, that there's a lot of shifts with mindset when it comes to you behind the lens.
I think when I look at it, then obviously with the workshops that I've done, I'm privileged and humbled that people want to book on with my workshops. But also when I look at it, those clientele that come along, be it a beginner or be it an intermediate or expert person that's there. There's a gentleman I met a few weeks ago, and he was a liver surgeon, and he saved people's lives through like emergency surgery. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm teaching this gentleman how to use a camera when he's going to his day job and literally like saving somebody's life. It's like, I am absolutely humbled to have this guy in front of me and want to pay me. And he said, I can't teach you that, but you can teach me this. And it's the value of it. So what is the value to person X to person Y? But at the end of the day, I still think that guy literally turns up for work and saves people's lives. I'm humbled to be in his presence.
Yeah, but by what you've taught him on that course has given him an outlet. So he is there literally with someone's life in his hands, day in, day out. The amount of stress and pressure that man experiences every day, and yet here you are showing him a way to cope and deal with all of that he has to go through. I know there have been times where, going back to the sort of the SUP community, there have been times where certainly I have, and I know you have, Sarah, and I'm sure you have, Amanda, helped support someone else who's going through something on race day.
Sarah on race day at Buell.
You did. You were fantastic at Buell. You were one of my inspirations.
I told you to get on the water and just crack on with it.
You along with Harrison, you and Harrison were my two inspirations that day, because I would never have got on that water if it wasn't for you. You gave me that pep talk, and you said you don't have to do this, but And then you gave me that pep talk, and that's exactly what I needed. And there you go. Then I came second in the British National Championships in my age category. So, that's thanks to you. You're both inspirations to me. You really are. And Michaela as well, taking me in the cold water for the first time. Do you remember at Mercer's Lake?
Yeah.
Because I was scared of falling off the board. Really important for me. I think you learn. And also, I mean, when I collapse, there's always some drama, isn't there, with me? When I collapsed on the board and I had all those lovely men from me, it was like something out of Baywatch, wasn't it? Like,
Not from where I was standing, it wasn't like Baywatch.
Well, it was for me. I'll tell you what, I was on that board, I was on that mega sup, right? And all of a sudden, these 6 men came round, these really fit athletes, and they lifted me up in the air. My God.
Did you feel like Cleopatra, but horizontal?
Well, the thing was, I was a bit delirious at the time, but
sort
of like, so the images are still in my head. The images are still in the 6-packs and everything else like that, because they were right up in my face, weren't they? It was worth collapsing, I tell you. Yeah. It was worth collapsing. But the SUP community were really fantastic there. Everybody. There were too many to name here, but I was so grateful. I was so humbled by that.
I'm just pleased you came round.
Well, I did eventually, but it was very, very painful experience. Yeah, no.
You're doing clandestine.
Almost learnt my lesson, but not quite.
Oh my life! What's the insurance look like? We need to get Michaela, can you get a personal one just for Sarah?
What do you think about the importance of self-compassion? Do you think that that's an important element in racing?
In racing and in life, for sure. You've only got one life. There's no point in beating yourself up during it.
Yeah.
Because life's going to do that enough to you. You're right there, Amanda.
I'm so sorry. My dog's just burped twice really loudly, and that's all I could hear. Please hold the line. Your call is very important to us. Carry on.
What does self-compassion mean for you, Amanda?
I'm not really sure.
You're not sure? Do you think it's, for me, it's about treating myself with the same understanding and support I'd offer a teammate or a friend, and not being judgmental on myself, because I mess up. I'm just human, and this is the thing, is that people think that vulnerability is a weakness. It's not. It's part of the human condition. We're all vulnerable. We all make mistakes, and it's not seeing it as a punitive thing, but seeing it as something that it's part and parcel. It's part of our learning journey, and I just, and just that's, and when things go wrong, and that could be with anything, or you say the wrong thing to somebody, it's self-compassion helps you recover emotionally and refocus and say, okay, well, this is you can reflect on what you said. You can say something to the other person. You can shift the lens with which you view the other person, and things like that. But then we go back again to that self-awareness and self-reflection. And it also helps build resilience, and it helps you from giving up when your challenges are your hardest. And, like if you're in a distance race or something like that resilience.
I think it's important as well, when you're talking about self-compassion, to not think about comparison. So we are all individual. We all have our own strengths and our own weaknesses and our own stuff going on in life. And you can get on the water, and yes, we're racing. Yes, we're trying to compete, but at the same time, it's not about comparing ourselves to another racer. And I think especially with women, we do that a lot, don't we? Don't we, Pam?
Yeah. That's the thing. We're in a society that judges. You look at social media and women, and we're supposed to be everything, aren't we? We live in an ageist society as well, because I'm really enjoying my life at the age that I am, and I've never felt fitter. I've got loads of friends. We're, really enjoying life. Yeah. And I think, we live in a society that says, oh, you hit a certain age and then, that's it. You're starting to get old now, but who says that? It's complete rubbish. And if you look at the ICF World Championships, there's some gold medal winners there that are in their 60s. We live in a very judgmental society, and it's all about that lens of curiosity.
I like that. Lens of curiosity.
But I think when we're looking at that self-compassion and not comparing ourselves to others, we started this podcast as we are women that get shit done. We all have multiple jobs and other things going on in our lives, which I know a lot of people out there have. How can we support and show up for other women out there?
I had this at Sup the Creek. I think when you see each of us, you know, I mean, race nerves are awful at any point. And there are times when I've had a panic just before a race. Other people have had panics before a race. And it's taking that time, taking that person aside if they want to, and having that chat with them. And one of the things that I say is to detach completely. So I imagine myself as a drone and looking at myself down as a drone, and so I can detach emotionally from it. Other things are like looking at a white light. So imagining yourself, it's not pushing away that fear, because the more you push away the fear, the worse it feels, but just sitting with the fear and then imagining a white light coming down, and that white light is the peace. So lots of sort of visualization techniques and things like that. And other athletes before you go on the water as well. I think that has a calming effect on myself as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice to help another person.
That's a different interpretation when you look at the light, because being the comedian side, I think of Bug's Life.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there's a story in that as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Bug's Life.
Go round the leaf. Photography is perceived to be a very, very competitive industry. And quite horrible at times. However, through some of the online YouTube creatives that are out there, there is a big shift in the generations now actually to be more supportive, more helpful, more group meetups. And I've got some really great friends that have come from that. And that criticism that you get is a positive criticism. So it's actually there to help you grow. But again, then photography is also very much about your interpretation of that photo. The one that I will look at and go, I think you look absolutely amazing in this, is brilliant. Somebody else will look at it and go, I absolutely hate it. No. And then that also goes back to what you mentioned earlier about how we show up on social media, how we show up on TikTok, the expectations of us not to have a race face, to be absolutely shining, perfect makeup when you've just done whatever, 12K in force to whatever it is, got covered, fallen off 16 times around one boy, been taken out by 4 starboard airlines going in the wrong direction, and a sail person, wind service come shooting past you, and you still need to look like pristine when you cross the line. Not going to happen. And in my view, actually, in that photo, it's actually, that's the effort that shows you that you've put in. That's the relief crossing that line. That's your personal success. Regardless if you finish number 1 or number 80, you've put that effort in to get across that line. So all I'm doing, as I've said before, is I press a button and capture that moment for you. But then my interpretation of that is personal goal, personal achievement. You've trained really hard. Yours is like, I look bloody awful in that. I'm not smiling. Where'd you get that one? That's how you look when you cross the line. Says about that.
Yeah.
You've got some pretty good ones of me over the
I've tried.
total Sup ones. They're the ones that you took. I like those. They're good.
Good. The ones with Seychelles. I like the ones of you with Athena and Seychelles.
There's a couple. Oh yeah, that was nice. There's a couple from Sup the Creek. I look as if I need to do a poo or something, you know.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you filled your wetsuit.
I nearly did, I think, at one point. The leisure paddler collided with me, yeah.
So, Michaela, what about you?
Oh, I've even forgotten what my own question was now. Supporting women without comparison. Yeah. I think actually Sarah covered it earlier. So it helps me. I don't get a lot of time before a race to even think about it because of the work I do with GB Sup.
We'll take GB Sup out of the equation then and look at like Race to the Castle.
Actually, no, I'm going to go back to the Thames 200. I think that, so there was myself, Edmund, Anya, and the 3 of us did 200 kilometres over 3 days. And Anya and I shared a room in hotels where we were stepping overnight. And there were some tough times there. I think the 2 of us were like, do we carry on?
Is that because you snored, or was it that tough in the room?
I think the second day was the hardest. We didn't realise what the splits were because the guy that organised it didn't quite give us the information. So we didn't realise what the splits were. And the second day we thought was 68 kilometers or something. Turns out it was 75. So we spent 14 and a half hours paddling 75 kilometers, coming in the dark. And I think at the end of day 2, it was nearly a case of do we do day 3? So yeah, I think just having that connection with people and talking things through and being able to support each other and push each other on helped.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I can go to a race, or I take a GBSAT race and go, right, this is what I believe that the paddlers will want, or what media is wanted. And the next thing I know, I'm up to my tummy in seawater and totally forgot I'm carrying like 12 grand plus worth of camera equipment on me.
You see, that's the passion you have for your job.
Well, part of the passion of joke, and most probably at that point, my neck doesn't hurt either. Yeah, it's everything else is bloody freezing. But like you say, it's that compassion, you've got that will, that drive to work with other people to show their success. If we look at one mindset shift or lesson of each of you will carry you into the next chapter, be that in your job or in your sport.
One mindset shift. I think it would be a commitment to repair. And what I mean by that is
a hole in your Kona.
Oh, the hole in your head.
Well, a hole in your head.
Yeah, a hole in my head. Yeah, no, got a hole in my head there. Yeah, the hole in my brain. Yeah, no, I think what I mean by that is resilience. So it's repairing in the sense that I'm working on myself, on my past, on my present, on my future, and seeing how I interact with other people, analysing that myself and thinking, okay, well, how can I improve this? How can I change the lens with which I'm looking at things into a more positive one, into that lens of curiosity? And I think it's resilience in the absence of conflict. It's the willingness to repair and reconnect afterwards. And that can work with relationships, that can work on the board, reconnecting with the water, reconnecting with yourself. And I've had that in a race. I've started off in a race, tearing across, and this one I didn't know. This one I didn't realise the race had started, right? Because I was too busy warming up. All of a sudden thought, great, it started, shot off, tried to catch up. As I tried to catch up, took the boy turned too close to the boy, hit the boy with my board, and then fell. Didn't fall off the board, fell onto the board. Then I was way behind. And I thought to myself, right, that's it, you're done. And then I thought to myself, no, I'm not. And then I ended up, I think I came something like, I overtook loads of people. And I ended up coming in, I think, 4th out of, I think, about 12 people. It's having that resilience, having that repair, that you reconnect, you get up, you reconnect, you go forth. Translates to racing, translates to the boards, translates to personal relationships as well. And it's that willingness in relationships, it's the willingness to compromise and try and see it from the other person's lens, which isn't always an easy thing to do.
Definitely. How about you, Michaela?
Letting go of fear. I think that's it's already been a bit of a mindset shift that I've been on, I'd probably say, in the last 6 months, and it's something I'm still working towards. So thinking about it from a SUP perspective, the focus for me for the 2026 season is sea racing and technical. And what comes from the fear perspective is the challenges of the sea, the instability of the water that's totally different to rivers and lakes, and then the technique of moving around on my board. Again, that fear of not being good enough from a professional perspective. You know, with counselling, well, with a lot of things, with most industries, I suppose, there's always that imposter syndrome. You know, am I good enough? Should I be doing this? And I've spent 4.5 years training to be where I'm at now, and I'm still learning. I was on a CPD just this evening about REBT, which is rational emotive behavioural therapy. And I'm sat there on this call with a bunch of other people that are answering all these questions, and I'm sort of sat there thinking, I shouldn't be here, I'm not good enough. And so yes, I think that shift of letting go of your fear and just going for it and doing it anyway, is something that I've been working on in the last 6 months, and I'm going to continue to work on into 2026. Hopefully getting or looking towards starting my master's degree.
Fantastic stuff.
What about your mindset shift, Amanda?
Get pissed and live a little.
That's good advice. I like that.
That's not a bad one, is it?
No,
It's
no,
not a
I
bad
like
one,
that.
that one.
Yeah,
No, I can't take credit for that one. Somebody gave me that one. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Roles have changed completely in the last few years, so it's still getting to grips with the new roles that I've got in sports settings and community settings, which is another job that I do. I think for my photography media business, then it's to try and not be so self-critical about my own work and just going, yeah, that's it. And Michaela's seen it 50,000 edits later, and I could have just done 0 maybe. Just 2. But yeah, it's that self-critical. So it is a little bit imposter syndrome, to say the least. And also take a chill pill, I think, is the other one as well.
Yeah, very good advice.
Yeah. Okay. What does success mean to you right now? One word, Sarah.
One word, success for me is flourishing.
Michaela, 2 words.
Success for me, keep growing, keep growing.
Lovely one. It's a
That
lovely
means I
one.
get 3 words, yeah?
Go on then.
Getting shit done.
Yeah.
Get shit done. That's brilliant. That is fantastic. And on that note, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with one simple but powerful question. What does success mean for you? Not what it means for your coach or your boss or the world around you, but you. Because success isn't a fixed destination. It's a living definition that shifts as you grow. And it may once have been about results, making the podium, proving yourself, but over time, it can become about balance or fulfillment or impact or something different. But the key is to keep checking in on that definition and to make sure that you're not chasing an old version of success that no longer fits who you are, because we're all on a journey and we all evolve. So do what I need to do, which is stop, take a breath, take a moment, and ask yourself, what does success mean for me right now? And how might I evolve as I do? Because true success it's not just about reaching the finish line. It's about becoming the kind of person who keeps growing, learning, and redefining what matters most. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep showing up for the version of success that feels most authentic to you. And from my colleagues and myself here, success looks like getting shit done. Oh, you got to do that again, Rizzy. Success looks like getting shit. Oh, right. Third time last. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Getting shit done.
Useless. Oh, don't forget to subscribe and follow, and leave a comment below on what success means to you.